stories from around the corner
and around the country.
You're listening to All the Best.
Proudly supported by the Art Gallery of New South Wales.
You're listening to All the Best from FBI Radio 94.5. I'm Kwame Slusher. This week we continue our celebration of queer stories and queer storytellers. But before we get into this week's stories, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm recording from stolen and Gadigal land, and pay my respect to Gadigal elders past and present, and also recognize that the area where FBI Radio is situated, Redfern, has long been a place of storytelling, strength, resistance, and resilience for First Nations communities. This week's continued celebration of queer stories is about finding love, or realizing that you just want to be loved, whether that's through a niche television show and a whale obsession, or being the only trans woman at a straight sex party in Coolangatta. In our first story, Sean tells us about wanting to truly be seen, and to be more than just a stepping stone for someone else to discover their queerness. And just a heads up, there are swear words in this story.
Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. I fucked up. Again. I'm starting to think my life is just some Judy Blume parody. I'm a 2-hour drive from home, unshaven, hair like a bird's nest, dressed in the finest $5 basics from Kmart that my money can buy. I've crossed the border into New South Wales for a sex party, and I've just discovered that I've booked a hotel room for the wrong date. So when the curtain comes down on this sordid affair, I'm going to be sleeping in my car. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Fuck, I hope my mother did not get a ticket for tonight. Should have seen the signs this was going to be complicated. Seen it in the cars, the stars, the fucking tea leaves. Hell, I should have realised in the vetting interview. A Zoom call with 2 stunningly attractive cisgendered women. When I, in my obnoxious bullshit, blurted out, I'm the gateway to queerness. They stared down the barrel of their webcams. Believe me, if you say something like that in an interview, any interview, you better believe you're going to be asked to clarify. Well, I'm girly enough for the boys, I'm mask enough for the girls. I show up and everyone just turns a little bit gay. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. When will I learn to keep my fucking mouth shut? And yet, they approved me. In the interview, no less. No 5-day waiting period for your gal. Charming, funny, sexy. I made the cut. So here I am, in Coolangatta. Nowhere to sleep. Nowhere to dress. Nowhere to shave. But it's fine, right? Us dolls are a resourceful sort. So when I stride into that hotel suite to the sounds of Australian pub rock, I look magnificent in backless emerald green, the very embodiment of the terrifying ocean deities that are tattooed across this ivory skin. Fearless, I wade into that sea of bronzed and buffed beach bodies, of Southern Cross tattoos and beige chinos. No one would dream that I'd just been diligently rinsing my 5 o'clock shadow down the sink of a Macca's ambulant toilet. No, all they can see is the bounce of golden curls, the bounce of HRT plump tits. I'm an ocean myrmidon from the depths that's tucked and plucked and ready to fuck. I am ethereal. I am otherworldly. I am a fascination to them. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Next time, remind me that the flinty look in a man's eye might just be him feeling the kick of his double dose of Viagra. But this is fine. Where the welcome speeches were made. The reminders about enthusiastic consent were welcome. They were slightly undercut by the hotel suite's vintage Galaga arcade machine, deciding at that moment to do the whistling bomb drop. Well, after everyone was talking about, if it's not on, it's not on. But that's fine. You know, I work the room, I flirt, I chat, I make jokes, I smile and I laugh. And then I realize I've been hanging around with you queers too much. Something's off. Ah, I see. This is a heterosexual sex party. Turns out, it's a room full of people who've never even met a trans woman before, let alone spoken to one, let alone seen one in lingerie, let alone even considered one as an option. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Please give me the grace to remember how small heterosexual lives can be. But all is not lost. There are hopefuls. The ones brave enough to declare that, yes, they're on the back foot, but certainly curious about what I bring to the table. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Thank you for making some of these heterosexuals neurodiverse. There is no way that the neurotypicals you usually churn out would be up for it. And you can see the want in their eye, not just the want of this body, but the want to understand it, the want to be kind, the want of something unique, something new. Sometimes that's all it takes for me. Gentle curiosity. This is what I meant when I said I was the gateway to queerness. Feminine enough for a man not to feel emasculated. Masculine enough for a woman not to feel unfeminine. A body with most of the delights of a woman, but still with the genitals set to the easy mode that I was born with. The perfect body to test the waters. A stepping stone for a straight person to discover something inside them. And for them to discover something inside them. So you take them in your arms. You whisper that, yes, this body is unlike any that you've ever encountered before. And they don't need to be nervous. You tell them that if it makes it easier, they can think of it as like all the other bodies they have experienced. Some parts made from the softness of a woman, others made from the firmness of a man. You guide hands and mouths to where they need to go, and you whisper to them that it's okay. You're not going to accidentally hate crime me. Kind of leaving out the part where you feel like you're hate criming yourself in the process. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Why is it that gifting someone this unusual body is the only time I feel like me? But it's fine. It's more than fine. It's fun. The women seem braver. The men seem to be wrestling with the concept of how gay it makes them. But not all. Not all. One in particular, a mountain of a man, sidling up to that substantial bulk of his body. I couldn't help myself from slapping the meat of his chest with the flats of my hands. Honey, you should be so proud of this thing you've crafted. Bashful, he looks down at his dinner plate-sized hands, mumbling that he wants to ask me something. I can see it in the way he bites his lip. He wants to be alone. And I lead him away and I lay this mountain down on a bed and I kiss him. What you want to ask me, honey? And he stammers out the most romantic thing a man has ever said to me. He tells me that he wants to wrestle. He's so large, he always worries that he's going to hurt someone, but with me, he tells me that I look like I could take it. I leap on top of him. I wrap my roller derby strong thighs around his waist and squeeze the breath out of him. I witness his shock and delight as I pin his wrists to the bed. Holding him down, he surges, bodily picking me up, flipping me onto my back. I am shocked and delighted. And then I return the favour and flip him back. We wrestle, a titanic clash of flesh and muscle and want, till we lay panting in each other's arms, a tangle of limbs. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. Fuck. I think this trans lesbian may have just fallen in love with a straight cisgendered man. But this is fine, it's fine, it's nothing, because of course I'm not in love with him. It's just a bit of harmless fun. But I want to get down on my knees and suck this man's soul out of his body, so help me. I would tear through him like a tornado through the trailer park next door. I mean, but for real, like, go down on a straight cis man? I mean, how does that even work? I mean, I assume it would be just like sucking girl dick, but surely it would be similar enough. I guess we wouldn't be wearing the cat ears and long socks. Clearly, this is the heterosexual agenda. Their perverse attempt to normalize straight people sex, to strip it of our gender entanglement, to unblur the boundaries of man and woman. What, no in-betweens? No boths, no neithers, just clearly defined man or woman, non-queer, straight sex. Look, I don't care what people do in the privacy of their own home. But gross. Are you there, God? It's me, Sean. I think I found the one good man in all the world, and it's at a beachside heterosexual sex party in Tweed Heads. But no. No, I'm far too gay, and he's not gay enough. And I'm happy to throw him around a room, but we aren't each other's type. We aren't good for anything more than that. He just wanted to see what it was like. Just to see what it felt like, just testing the waters. And I was happy to oblige. The night wore down. The women covered their magnificent lingerie. The men turned to each other and said, "I think you've put on my beige chinos, mate." The guests began filtering away, and I bade farewell to those curious souls, those gorgeous women, those terrified men. I told them I was off to go walk into the sea. I mean, a girl needs a little bit of mystery about herself. It's not like I was going to tell them I was going to go sleep in my car. 3 a.m. and the long stretch of sand to the waterline was waiting for me. My discarded clothes, dark patches in the night, stepping stones marking my path down to the water. Naked, I waded in. No need to test these waters. I'm still warm from the summer day. And the sea fizzes around me, pulling under my heels, drawing me in. I let it. Solitary in the night, the waves wash over me. The salt and sand scour this unusual body, pale and luminous in the moonlight. And looking up to that silvery orb, the glow of my God hanging in the sky, I say, "Oh, there you are. It's me. It's Sean." And I ask her, should I have been more honest? Should I have told them that what really happens in the straight world is that this body is seen as too masculine for men, too feminine for women, too odd to be of an interest to anyone, really. Should I have told them that on those rare occasions that I am the stepping stone for a queer person, that I'm just grateful that intimacy happened at all? Maybe I should have told them that I wish I wasn't the gateway. Because really, I just wish I was the destination.
You're listening to All the Best on FBI Radio 94.5. I'm Kwame Slusher. That story you listened to was written and performed by Sean Dowling and was part of Queerstories, a national LGBTQI+ storytelling project curated by Maeve Marsden, featuring a book, event series, and award-winning podcast. In our next story, Chloe lets us know that finding love can be as momentous as spotting a humpback whale from the beach. And another content warning, there are swear words in this story.
When I was 17, my mum and I went to a street fair down the road from our tiny rental flat. There was music and food trucks, market stalls, those terrifying rides that they unpack from suitcases. And best of all, there was a free psychic. So my mum had one rule for me growing up. She was like, you can get knocked up. I did. You can do drugs. I did. And you can drink. I did. And I won't be happy about it. She definitely wasn't. But I won't kick you out. But if you ever, and I mean fucking ever, bring a Ouija board into this house, you're fucking out. Free psychics at street fairs, however. Well, that's different. We were the last people of the night, and this poor psychic looked like he wanted to cry from exhaustion. He took my hand in his side and without hesitating said, first partner you have is going to be shit, leave them. Second one, also shit, leave them. And the third one, that'll be the one. There'll be a moment, something memorable. You'll just know. Also, you need vitamin C. I shit you not, that's verbatim what this guy said to me. At this stage in my life, I had never had a partner. I had slept with people, but it was almost like I was battling with some inner turmoil about my identity. Because at that time, it was unfathomable to me that I would ever admit that I was a lesbian. And the thought of having a boyfriend was, unsurprisingly, never appealing to me. The next year, I met the father of my 2 children. Being gay is one thing, but admitting you're gay, well, that's another. And while having my kids was definitely memorable, especially the second one, because when they came out, the midwife said, wow, fuck, baby has a big head. And I was like, thanks, lady, I fucking felt it. I knew that this was not the moment that the psychic had meant. But in that moment, I had my own psychic vision. It was like, this cis hetero man you're about to marry, he isn't the one for you, babe. I left him, moved back in with my mother, came out, bought a carabiner, a lesbian rite of passage, and rediscovered the things I used to love as a kid. This was mostly prompted by my living back in my childhood bedroom with 2 children. The top 4 things I rediscovered I loved after going through boxes of my youth were books. Most of the boxes were filled with just books. You don't work in publishing unless you love books because there is no money or good vibes, ever. So books, birds. Found a passionate essay I had written in year 8 titled, When Pigeons Cry. About the extremely depressing fact that pigeons never, if I have to know this, you do too. So pigeons never assimilated to living without us, which is why they flock in densely populated areas, but we abandoned them once they were of no use to us, like typical white people shit, so. Bugs. I found the really cool dead fly I had put in a matchbox when I was 9 and then proceeded to carry around for an entire year. I did charge friends at school to see it. And lastly, my greatest obsession, humpback whales. I mean, I love all whales, but humpbacks are very special to me. I found diaries filled with drawings of whales, a whale tail necklace, stuffed whale toys, printed out photos of whales, cutouts from magazines of whales, and tiny notes in jars about how it was 5-year-old Chloe's dream to see a whale. I found journal entries dated from when I was 10 stating, Tomorrow we are going to the Sunshine Coast. If I don't see a whale, I might actually die. And another that said, my brother was teasing me that when we lived in Cairns, he saw a whale at the beach. I hate him. I have always been dramatic, and I have always loved whales. And it wasn't like I'd stopped loving whales or forgotten about them, but 2 kids in 2 years, being a single mother, moving back home, finishing a full-time university degree, it just made me too exhausted to remember that deep down at the core of who I wasn't a horse girl. I was a whale girl. But up until this point in my life, I still had never seen a real fucking one. Not long after I had moved back in with my mum, I started seeing my first ever girlfriend. I moved out into a flat. I got a job as a literary festival manager in Newcastle. I broke up with that girlfriend because she was, as the psychic predicted, fucking awful. Now, whales migrate through Queensland waters every year, and this was at least 6 more humpback migration seasons worth of life that I had lived through, and still nothing. It was then that I decided the only thing that I had left to do was to rewatch the entire 4 seasons of the most brilliant TV series to come out of the 90s, Ocean Girl. For those of you who aren't old enough or simply just had hobbies as children and don't know what Ocean Girl is, it was an Australian science fiction television series that aired from 1994 until 1997. It is the story of an unusual girl named Neri who lives alone on an island and spends her days with her only friend, a humpback whale named Charlie, who is depicted in the show as different humpback whales from documentary footage or via a terrifying-looking, true-to-size animatronic whale. Charlie is Neri's only friend until she forges a friendship with 2 brothers who live with their family of scientists on an underwater research facility called Orca. During this time, my friend G had recently moved out of her house and was still looking for a new one. In the interim, she started spending a lot of time at my house. She didn't know, however, that I was secretly watching this strange 90s show with a terrifying animatronic whale on my laptop every night after she'd fallen asleep on my couch, soothing myself to sleep to the maladaptive daydreams I hadn't had since I was a kid. Me stranded on an island, forging an unbreakable bond with a humpback whale. I was a really weird kid. I rewatched Ocean Girl between working, raising my kids, and going to therapy to talk about Ocean Girl. The time came for me to fly to Newcastle for the festival that I and 4 severely underpaid other young arts workers had spent the last year and a half planning, and by then G and I were inseparable. So this meant, of course, she had to come to the festival as moral support. I had not long finished the series, crying as I rewatched the Friends to Lovers arc of Neri and Jason. That was the oldest brother. That was season 4, episode 26, or the final ever episode of Ocean Girl. And then the festival. I don't know if you guys know much about managing a literary festival. The hours are long, the pay is non-existent, and you live off caffeine, cigarettes, and the occasional stale green room sandwich. There is little time to sleep, and in the moments of alone time you manage to steal, you just scream. The hallucinations from sleep deprivation during this festival in particular were almost as bad, as the time my best friend and I did a road trip back to my hometown in Cairns during the COVID lockdown. Okay, so it was my mum, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law and people that I work with. Just pretend you're not hearing this part of the story. It was 2021. We were on our way to visit the place I was born, and we stopped in a small town called Babinda to camp for 2 nights. We had shitty Kmart tents, a rotisserie chicken, and a whole bag of mushrooms. The fun kind. We decided to drink some mushroom tea and go for a bushwalk. On this bushwalk, we came across a new species of frog. My God, look at it. It's so amazing. I've never seen anything like it. We Googled what it could be. No matches. We were ecstatic. We'd all but convinced ourselves we'd found the new species. We took photos to prove our findings and headed smugly back to camp. When we woke up the next morning, we excitedly went back through the photos to see this amazing, never before seen frog. only to find a dozen photos of us crouched down smiling next to a cane toad. So fucking bad. I've never told that story. I hope my best friend isn't here because she'll fucking kill me. I knew hallucination and the sleep deprivation, no drugs involved this time, I felt towards the end of the festival was pretty close to the mushroom cane toad incident of years past. On the last day, G forced a rare moment of respite from emerging riders and festival tech issues on me by dragging me to the beach. We were sitting there. I was hiccup sobbing from exhaustion, panicking because I could feel the phantom sensation of my lanyard swaying, even though I wasn't wearing it anymore. Was also having a panic attack. This is where it gets cute, because I'd realised what everyone else had realised months ago, that I was falling in love with G. And then G said, "Look, a whale." She said it so casually, not knowing my obsession, not knowing the hours I had spent just that last year tracking a pod through Manjeraba, hoping to see it. And it took me a minute for my brain to connect with the words she was saying and what we were seeing as we looked out into the salt water. There in the distance was the blurry but unmistakable shape of a dolphin. I'm actually kidding. What we were really looking at was a massive juvenile humpback whale, tail flapping, breaching again and again and again, playing in the current of the ocean. It was beautiful. And in a very unlike me moment, it made me stop crying. And I never told G about that day. I decided to do it tonight in front of all of you. But the first thing that I thought when I saw that whale was about the psychic from when I was 17. The third one will be the one, and you'll know, because something memorable will happen. There will be a moment, and you'll just know. We hooked up that night. She kissed me first. G and I are about to get married. And she knows all about my whale girl energy. She knows when she comes home and I'm crying on the couch, it's probably because I've rewatched Blackfish. It's a really well-made documentary, I say, as I snot cry into her, trying to explain why I keep fucking doing this to myself. And I no longer wait until she is asleep to rewatch episodes of Ocean Girl. I think she probably wishes I would, though. And now she knows that our season 4, episode 26, Best Friends to Lovers moment happened on that beach together. The first time I ever saw a humpback whale. Thank you.
That story was written and performed by Chloe Mills. If you like what you heard in this episode, check out the Queerstories podcast. And Queerstories is celebrating its 10th birthday at the Grand Electric in Surrey Hills on the 16th of August. You can learn more about Queerstories and their celebration at mavemarsden.com/queerstories. And if you love audio stories, listen to All the Best for unique stories from independent audio makers from so-called Sydney and around the country. Catch our live radio broadcast on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. on FBI Radio 94.5. Listen to our podcast on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on allthebestradio.com, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow us now so you never miss an episode. All the Best would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands in which we make these stories, and pay our respects to elders past and present. All the Best is made at FBI Radio on Gadigal land, in association with Sin and 3RRR on Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung and Boon Wurrung lands, and 8CCC on Arrente and Worumungu lands. The All the Best editorial producer is Mel Bakewell, and Phoebe Adler-Ryan is our executive producer. Patrick McKenzie is our community coordinator, and thanks to all the volunteers who make All the Best possible. Shining Bird composed our theme music, and Annie Hamilton designed the artwork. We're heard across Australia on the Community Radio Network, and were made possible by the Art Gallery of New South Wales and the Community Broadcasting Foundation. You can find our full archive of more than 600 episodes at allthebestradio.com. I'm Kwame Slusher. See you next week.